Hello and welcome to the Harry Man Show, episode 50, the Big 50. We have a a great guest, Nick Rich. He's been in a lot of bands. He's working as an independent artist right now. And as you know, he's also the grandson of the late great Buddy Rich. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing awesome, man. How are you doing?
Good, good. I'm actually been following you for quite a while there, and you're drumming, since you were a child, or well, I should say teenager. But yeah, you're extraordinary, man.
I thought you meant following me personally in my daily life. I was going to say
No.
maybe I should call the police. No, I'm
No.
just playing. Thank you, man. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah. And you started about what, 18 months old?
Yeah, I got my first drum set from Remo Belly, who obviously started Remo Drumheads, and I was about 17, 18 months old. Yeah.
Nice. And did you have any memories of your grandfather teaching you at all, or was it kind of just self-taught along the way?
Yeah, he definitely put the sticks in my hand, and every opportunity where he was playing and I was around, he'd always put me on stage with him, and he'd always have me play. And um, I recall times playing at Disneyland in Carnation Plaza with him, where when Buddy used to play at Disneyland for the last couple of years of his life. Um, yeah, he was a huge influence. All I heard was big band jazz and Buddy playing, the entire time I was in my mother's womb. So as I have my own children today, I know how much that affects
Hmm.
the children.
Yeah. So going to your teenage years, was that when you started playing in bands, or were you kind of going to the regular training as well?
Yeah, so I never took a lesson at that time. I was pretty much all self-taught. I got sponsored by Zildjian at 13, and then just started taking it way more seriously. And I took it seriously my whole life, but I feel like I ramped it up from, just a hobby thing to like, man, this is what I want to do.
Hmm.
And at age 16, I started taking drum lessons from Travis Barker.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, he was like my idol at the
Hmm.
time. And yeah, so I studied with him for a couple years. And then at the age of 18, I took a 1 2 hour lesson with Dave Weckl.
Oh, wow. That's extraordinary too.
And, and it changed my life. That
Nice.
that one lesson changed my life. He's always been from the Buddy shows back in the 80s. I've known him pretty much my whole life, but just his approach to everything is so counterclockwise, yet it makes perfect sense. He radically changed my drumming in a big way.
Now, I wanted to back up. When you were taking lessons with Travis Barker, was this around the time Enema of the State was kind of blowing up, or before that?
Yeah, this was probably take your pants and jacket off time.
Oh, nice. So he definitely
Yeah,
established himself at that point.
yeah. He was still an icon, but he wasn't all Hollywood. He was living in Corona still, and I would just pull up to the famous Stars and Straps, his clothing line's little warehouse, and he just had like a little setup. It was like private, and yeah, it was really cool, just one-on-one time. And he's got something that Travis has really well, you know, sealed down is his marching rudiments, and he
Yeah.
comes from a background of drum line and drum corps. So I tried to pull a lot, that realm out out of studying with him, because he is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to that area. He really is.
Yeah, and he did pull a lot from your grandfather with the snare chops too. Like you could hear a lot of his build-ups and his crescendos,
Yeah,
and a lot of that. Oh,
yeah,
well, a lot of other drummers did that as well, but especially him with
for
that.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he thanked Buddy on his on the liner notes for that record.
Really,
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, that totally makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But he was always a chill guy, always really cool, and yeah, nothing negative to say about him. He's always been a stand-up guy.
Now, I want to talk about what you're currently doing. You're working as an independent artist, and you're running
Yeah,
Born Rich Studios. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
yeah. So what I'm doing, this whole COVID thing, just turned everything upside down for gigging musicians and touring musicians and all of that stuff. So us dumb drummers, we had to kind of get smart. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, so I built a home studio. I I am producing artists, and I've been songwriting for a long time, and I've written songs with a gentleman named Jim Peart, who wrote "Eye of the Tiger."
Hmm.
So we've been writing songs together for a while, and now I'm producing and managing my son, Brooklyn. Is his name is his rap name, whatever. Brooklyn, born rich,
Oh,
and
nice.
he's so talented. So we're in the process of getting him a deal right now, and I've kind of just focused. I focused like all the COVID energy onto him, and
Nice.
just made it about him, and tried to encourage and produce and give him all the knowledge that
Hmm.
that a father should give their son, and a mentor should also give their student.
Absolutely. And besides playing drums, did you branch out to any other instruments like vocals and keyboard?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I sing, I play keyboard, I play guitar, play drums, obviously. um that's about all you need to play.
Nice. Yeah,
And
that's
then
pretty much around.
I mean I'd like to play bass, but I could, man, technology these days, just with all these amazing programs that I'm running, are just, I mean, technology has taken it to, I'm bouncing tracks and
Hmm.
files all over the world.
Yeah.
And we're just, people are creating music out of their homes, and just boom, like, it's crazy.
Now, do you see that as
Like,
a positive, or do you think it's better to have people in the studio? Obviously, due to the pandemic, that's not as possible. But
yeah. It's much better to be face to face. It's much better to be live together, feeling the vibes. I
mhm.
mean, it's much better. I mean, it's no comparison, but it's what we got right now. So, um,
Now, you mentioned many programs you use. What's your go to? Are you using Pro Tools or Logic?
I'm using
Oh, nice.
Ableton 10 Live Suite, because I like to use Ableton on the go as well, and that's the only program that you can pretty much run live with. And if I'm doing drum clinics or drum type stuff, I can just bring my laptop and pull up any session. I can mute drums and just have like the percussion track, and because I write all my own music. So it's just a very convenient program for recording and for live.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So,
I really dig it.
now in the future, if anyone wants to book with you, what would be the best way to do that?
Um, Definitely hit up my email, nickrichdrums@gmail.com.
Hmm.
You could check out my Instagram at nickrichdrums. Um, yeah, email me though, nickrichdrums at gmail.com. Yeah,
All
that's the
right.
easiest. I forgot my own freaking thing.
That's
No,
all right.
um, no, but that's the best way. That's the best way to get a hold of me.
Hmm.
And yeah, people definitely need to check out what my son is doing. It's crazy. It's like he's only 14 years old, and he writes his own lyrics, and not just like these baby bop lyrics, but lyrics that are affect adults, and lyrics that we can relate to no
Hmm.
matter what age you are. It's pretty impressive.
Now, is he is your only son? Or you have other sons into music as well too?
I have four boys.
Oh, nice.
Brooklyn's my oldest. He's 14. He's really my only son that is super into music right now. Like, he knows there's nothing else in the world he wants to do.
Good, good. That's good.
Like, yeah, and he's made some heavy commitments, and he's made sacrifices, and you know, he's really doing it. He's really loving it. And since we built a home studio, he's loving it even more, because we could lay down tracks right on the spot, and it's the clarity of the production and everything is just, when you have a clear project and you have a good sounding production,
Hmm.
I think it encourages the artist to want to continue to pursue.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you have this garage sounding
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, where is this going to go? You know what I mean? So, I reach out to, mixer friends of mine in the business, but I've pretty much learned everything just on YouTube and just from being in the studio so many times throughout my life.
Well, you got to remember when we were his age, we had like one room mic. It just
I
sounded
know.
like
I
a
know.
paper bag going like this. But yeah, that definitely an advantage. It's like, uh,
Yeah. I remember when I was like, man, this was like 11 years ago. I was 11 years ago. 20 years ago. Oh my gosh. 20. Oh man, I'm 36. So this was like 21 years ago. I remember being in the studio and this was like my first band. I was like 14, 15 at the time. And we got to record. It was like $150 to record as much as you can on a tape.
oh wow, yeah,
So on a cassette tapes. So we did like 40 songs. Like none of them were salvageable, but it was just like, man, it's changed so much with social media and with all these different avenues that gives the artist a lot of control, almost too much sometimes.
yeah. And I'm kind of happy I experienced that to see how much of a
Yeah.
luxury it is now. Because now you can sit there and just stay all night just tweaking stuff. And but
Yep.
yeah, I'm definitely happy to see the struggle. I guess if that's what you want to call it.
Yeah, but I mean, the con side to that is you have everyone thinking that they can do music, and
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
thinking that they're a producer, and everyone thinking that they're this.
Hmm.
So that's the only downside. Is some of the talent gets lost in the mix.
Yeah, and on the rise of the pandemic, I mean, I've seen a lot of growth in the drum cover thing, and everyone kind of just doing the same thing. I don't know if it's going to change when everything opens back up, or I just hope
Yeah, I don't know.
people still focus on playing live. I don't want to lose that element of it.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think people will be so ready to play live when it's time. It's gonna
Hmm.
be like these shows when they come out with these guys. It's just gonna be so energy packed and crazy. Um, yeah, I don't think there's gonna be anything lacking in the live department at all.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I
I need it.
yeah.
Mm,
All my drummer friends are like, you know, just they can't wait.
yeah.
I do a lot of session work, and I've toured before and whatnot, but my career hasn't been of one in one band, constantly touring, constantly touring, constantly touring. So I feel I miss the live performance. I don't necessarily miss the touring. I like to be with my family,
Yeah.
and I enjoy creating music at home. But man, when I can start playing out again, I'll be the first one in line.
Before I
I'll
moved
be
on
the
to
first one in line. Yeah,
Before I
man.
moved on, I want to talk about taking it less so Weckl. Did that change your setup or technique at all? You said that changed you.
Everything.
He just said
Everything.
the whole approach and everything.
Yeah. So like it's really just changing your setup changes the way you play.
Hmm.
And it all revolves around molar technique and techniques from Freddie Gruber, who was a friend, a family friend of ours, and a
Hmm.
friend of my grandfather's. Um, but it's this idea of letting the stick do the work for you,
Hmm.
and having your fingers involved more than slamming and breaking elbows and shoulder rotator cuffs. And it's more of this idea of fluidity and
Hmm.
having every drum available from home place position.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to be reaching. You're just creating more work for yourself. And that just changed my, because I wanted to play like when I was a punk kid. I wanted to play like Travis with the super high
Oh
cymbals,
yeah. Yeah.
and and the super high hi hat. It just wasn't efficient for me. I wasn't getting the most out of my playing that way. So I had to come with terms with my drum set's not going to look like that, and that's okay.
Hmm.
Um, so a lot of that, half of that lesson was the setup of the kit, and then the other half was just stuff to take home And this was stuff that I practiced for years. I still do. Letting the stick do the work for you. You know, one bounce, when you let the stick do the work for you, and you throw the stick down on the practice pad, one bounce should turn into like 5, 4, about 6, you know, if you're loose with it. So it's this common denominator between a loose grip and yet still having control.
Yeah.
So it really is letting the stick do the work for you, or something's going to give. You know, you're hitting against wood and metal. And I believe the first thing that's going to give is your stick, but eventually your bone.
Yeah.
Or your cartilage, or something along those lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And was traditional grip pushed on you at any point, especially with Weckl?
No, it wasn't actually, because I've been practicing traditional a lot more recently, just for myself. But no, I've always played match grip, and it's always worked for me. And Weckl plays match grip sometimes. I mean, he, you know, Buddy even played match grip sometimes. So, you know, I don't like to pigeonhole myself into, you know, a particular thing. But yeah, I mean, the majority of the time you'll see me playing match grip for sure.
Yeah, it's just not practical sometimes to do traditional there.
It's not, and what I'm working on right now is getting that same rim shot pop on the snare as traditionally as I do, you know, with match grip.
Nice. And before I ask the next question, I just want to pay a props to your grandfather. I remember reading in a Modern Drummer magazine that stuck with me, and he pretty much said, "Never have your cymbals higher than your shoulders." And you were talking about
Very
that
true.
being, yeah. So I just want to pay respects there and say that actually stuck with me from day one, pretty much.
Yeah, and you know, these are all old school techniques that kind of have been, you know, washed away with 90s rock. And, you know, not that I love playing rock music, don't get me wrong. There's just a more efficient way to play rock music.
Yeah.
You know, and you see a lot of the stylistically being more about showy, you know, how far can I wrap around, you know what I mean? Like more showy than, is this the most efficient way for me to play 90 minutes a night?
Yeah, it's going to wear you down eventually. But I want to
It's gonna
talk
wear
about
you down.
yeah, I want to talk about your setup. You primarily played DW over the years, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and I think you're currently using Sabian is what you use?
Yeah. So I play DW right now, hardware and drums. Sabian cymbals, Vic Firth drumsticks, a company called Spin Bowl. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, they've created this little ball bearing attachment that goes underneath your cymbal that actually spins as you hit. So you're never so you're never technically hitting the cymbal in the same spot twice, which helps with, you know, cymbal longevity, and it gives it kind of it gives it a panoramic kind of sound.
Yeah. Now
It's really cool.
Was there a certain DW kit that you kind of grown towards, or do you kind of jump all over the place with DW?
Man, they throw it in front of me, I play it. I mean, it's like that. I was playing, like, when I was recording a record, when was this? 2013, at the studio at the Palms in Las Vegas. They flew me out a waterfall African Bobenga kit. I mean, it was insane. It was just like, it was gorgeous. It looked gorgeous. It's recorded beautiful. I mean, they said it was the best drums they've ever recorded up there. And this is where, like, anywhere from Dr. Dre or anywhere could have been there every other day. You know what I mean? So it was, not that he plays live drums, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, DW all the way. I've since my not my first drum set was the Remo one, but my real first touring kit was a DW Collector Series Marine
Nice.
Pearl kit.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah.
And I believe your
Yeah.
grandfather
So
would actually probably play on this day if he was still alive. I think Lewick and DW are they're my two top tier. I'm not speaking for everybody,
yeah.
but I would see your
Yeah. No,
grandfather
for
playing
sure.
those. So,
Yeah. I mean, DW. I think he would play DW.
yeah.
I'd make him if I could.
Now, are you using bigger Sabian cymbals, or are you kind of using more traditional small?
Nah. I like quick splashes. Um I like rides that I could ride on. Anything can also be I like a 3-part ride. I like a ride that I can, do a little swing on. I like a ride that I can crash out, and I
Hmm.
like a ride with a hand hammered bell as well. So
Nice,
I have a ride that has all 3 of those integrated into it.
nice.
And
Now,
yeah,
I wanted to bring up kind of remembering Neil. I know he was a big influence on you too. Was he also your
yeah,
godfather as well?
he was. Yeah, Neil played a huge role in my life. I mean, just from back to the Burning for Buddy sessions
Yeah,
with
that
the
was.
album that he produced with my mom.
Hmm.
I mean, this was just a man that I knew my whole life, and just like I would go to him with like serious issues.
Oh, nice.
Like if I was struggling in certain areas of my life, I'd go to him, and he would be there for me always. So yeah, I mean, he was just family. It's like beyond. It's like beyond just like, oh yeah, I knew Neil. No, he was family. He actually, when he was going on his motorcycle, bouts through the country and all over, and he technically retired from drums.
Hmm.
He came over to our house. We were living in Palm Springs, California at the time. This is when I was like 16,
Hmm.
and the first time he touched a drum set was my kit, and he started
Really?
tuning it up. Yeah, he tuned it up, and he just got it lively and sounding, and he attributed that to helping him get back to missing and loving drums.
Oh, wow, that's a big thing, dude.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
huge.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think it's in his book. It's in the Ghostwriter book.
yeah. I have to read that again, but that's amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome. I mean, again, when no matter the losses you face and whatever happens in life, these are the things that save us. These
Mhm.
are these talents that God has given us. These are the things that keep us sane. These are the things that are therapeutic and are, in a sense, our therapy. So
Mhm.
um I think he realized that at that moment.
Mhm. Now I
So
want,
that was
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
that's huge. I mean, but
Yeah.
he was a big part of doing the tribute concerts to your grandfather as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you take like any kind of lessons or construct things with them as far as music pieces and stuff?
No, Neil, one thing we did do before the 2008 Memorial concert where Neil played and I played, and Tommy Igoe and Terry Bozzio and John Blackwell and Chad Smith in New York City. Neil and I locked ourselves. Well, he invited me uh, at the DW Drum Channel studio.
Oh, nice.
He said, "Why don't you come up, lock yourself in here with me for 3 days, and let's just jam."
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so I flew out there, and we literally just locked ourselves in the room and just played together and just bounced ideas off of each other and ate lunch. And I mean, it's filmed. It's filmed somewhere because they filmed the whole thing at Drum Channel. I don't know where it is. I wish I could get my hands on that footage. If anyone out there from DW or Drum Channel knows where that is, I would love to have that.
Yeah, I'll help you there.
Um, yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
No, but that was a real special time.
nice. And then that must have been
That
did that change your playing at all, or did you just kind of like just be in awe the
See,
whole?
yeah, no, it didn't change my playing because he was just like my friend.
Yeah.
I never I never saw him as like how other people saw him. Like he just wasn't that to me,
Mhm.
which is probably why we got along so good because I really wasn't a Rush fan. I was a little too young for that,
Mm-hmm.
and I just treated him like we just goofed off and made fun of each other, and I mean, it was just like a normal relationship. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, Neil, oh,
Yeah.
let me change your socks for you, or it wasn't anything
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
And
You know what I mean?
he was a very private person on top of that. So I mean,
He was so private, so private, so private. Like, my mom went and saw him a month or so before his passing, and he had like a whole underground, layer almost of just all of his Aston Martin cars and a
really.
desk. And yeah, I mean, yeah, he was super private, man. Especially towards the last few months of his life, because I mean, we knew he
Mm-hmm.
was sick for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the crazy thing. It was the same exact thing Buddy died from,
Really.
the same kind of brain cancer. Yeah.
Oh
So,
wow.
yeah, it's just wild. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I didn't mean. I apologize for bringing it up because I get excited thinking if I was
No,
in that
no, no,
position and like,
no, 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 no. It's beautiful to think about. It's fantastic memory to hold close. I don't hold that close enough, so I appreciate the reminder. I do.
yeah, and I think I just see it as like a drum geek, and I'm just like, oh my god, you know what I mean?
No,
Like,
I know,
yeah.
I know, and yeah. I mean, again, even though I just called him Uncle. I called him Uncle Noyle. Like,
Oh,
Noyle
nice.
is what I called him. So it's like I I always felt comfortable.
Hmm.
We used to stay at his house in Canada. I knew his daughter, who sadly was got in that car accident and died, and
Hmm.
his wife Jackie, who ended up passing away from cancer 6 months later. And yeah, I mean, we really knew him well.
Nice. And
Yeah.
before I let you go, Nick, what's in store for the future? I know you're working with your son, but what types of music are you kind of experimenting with, and what kind of gear are you kind of looking to get your hands on?
Yeah, so I'm loving like hip hop drumming.
Hmm.
I'm obsessed with like the gospel chop. I mean, I've been obsessed with the gospel chop scene like since Dennis Chambers was around.
Yeah.
Was really doing it. Like, whoa, we
Hmm.
had never heard anybody play like this before. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But yeah, I got some friends I talked to. Devin Taylor, who plays for Justin Bieber. I mean, he's a monster. And
Hmm.
Jerome Flood.
Hmm.
And I'm actually going to start taking lessons, just pick their brains.
Hmm.
I'm going to start next month with Tommy Igo, and then take a few lessons with Jerome Flood, because he's a monster. And I mean, at some point as a musician, you need to drop the pride. You need to realize I still have a lot to learn. And I think when we get to that point, it's like, okay, now we can really grow.
Yeah, but that's what makes it fun too.
Yeah, it makes it
Yeah.
fun. It's like, oh shit, I really can't play a lot of shit.
Yeah. So, and yeah, I feel you on that. But are you still giving drum lessons yourself as well?
Yeah. Yeah, I still give online drum lessons, and those are always available.
Hmm.
Again, nickrichdrums@gmail.com. We'll do Zoom, FaceTime, whatever's comfortable for anybody.
Hmm.
And I really like to bring it back to the roots, because that's what I played for 18 years, 17 years, and then started at the roots.
Gotcha.
So I like to now bring kids starting from the roots, and you see such a faster development in their playing.
Hmm. And the
You know,
accessibility is YouTube's a hell of a thing too. Like when you're learning, you have
yeah,
references. When I had to go buy a CD and sit there and listen to it, but no visual
yeah.
on anything. So
No, no, visual. I'm sure as drummers we're all visual at some level. Um, so it's good to have somebody on the other end of that you
mhm.
can ask a question to. That I've been talking to Marco Miniman a lot recently, and just picking his
Fun.
brain, and like just I'm gonna take a couple lessons from him, and just
Oh,
and he
that'd be
said the craziest thing to me, which just blew my mind. He he's such a humble guy. He's such an amazing guy that he's like, I could learn so much from you too.
That's great. Yeah.
And it's like, this guy is a freaking master of the craft.
Yeah.
He's like playing guitar with his left foot, lead guitar.
Quintuplets with his pinky.
Yeah. But that's what it is. It's humility. And that's what not only helps your career flourish, but it makes people want to work with you too, you know, but not a fake humility, like a real sense of you're replaceable. You're replaceable. You know what I mean?
I think even myself took me to my late 20s to kind of figure that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your head's too big that you kind of fall over.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I remember 16, 17. For whatever band I was in a lot. Mm-hmm. I played so many fills, and it was just, I look back on that today, I'm like, oh man, poor guy. Sorry.
you're getting paid for the note pretty much.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, it was still my style has completely, my mentality has changed a lot. So
yeah. Well, Nick, this is really cool of you coming on. I don't want to keep you on. I know you're a busy guy, man. But this is the big episode 50, our first video one. And I'm happy to do it with you. And I would love to
number one.
Number one video.
Number one Zoom.
Yeah. So I would love to have you on again. Again, when you're a little bit, when we're all playing live again. So we'll set up some cool stuff, some group ones.
Where are you based out of?
Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like a nice warm place. I could be in Phoenix. I can hang in Phoenix.
All right. Well, we'll definitely share this show. It's on Spotify, Apple, and it'll be on YouTube. But thanks a lot, Nick.
Awesome, bro. Thank you, bro. Good talking with you, man. Thanks for everything.